But one of the classic things that we study in machine learning is this iris species data set. Why? Because it's really good to study. And there are three species of irises that look very similar. And they have petals and what are called sepals. The sepals are the things that before the flower blooms are on the outside there, like the case of the flower. And then when they open up in the iris, especially, they're pretty. They look like they're part of the flower. So the petals are what are inside that. But if they measure the length and the width of the petals and the sepals, it gives us 4 pieces of data about each of these flowers. And what we can do with that is we can study that and give it to a machine learning algorithm that allows us to classify those. So sklearn is a library that includes data sets for practicing. It stands for scikit-learn. Okay, so if you want to use this, you would have to import scikit_learn. That's the package that you want. And we're importing this data sets, and this is load iris data set. And all it is just a data set that shows us all of these iris data. So if I print iris here, this is what I get. Okay, so I have a data, and then in that, there's an array, which is just a list of lists. And then we have a number that corresponds to the species, 0, 1, or 2 for each of those things. And then we have other information about the data. Kind of messy if you just look at that piece of it. But that allows us to have access to this data that's very useful for things. So I load this iris data set into a variable. I have pandas loaded. I'm creating a data frame from the iris data. And I'm using iris.featureNames, which is one of the things in that data. If we look down here, there's a piece called feature names. Target, frame, attributes, mean match. There's more than one way to skin a cat here. I'm going to say Sublime Text, which is my text editor, new, paste, oops. Copy output. There we go. Paste that, find feature. There it is, feature names. Very, very end of the text here. Okay. So feature names, you can see, are the column headings. Right here. Feature names. Oh, that's the file name. So the feature names is just this list right there. So if I print just the feature names, let me comment this out. I can get at those. Print iris dot feature names. I just want to make sure that was underscore. Okay, so there are the feature names, and it's just a list. Okay, so now we're creating a data frame that's got the data, and the column headings are this. Now we're adding to that a species column that contains the 0, 1, 2, or 3, depending on which species it is. And finally, we're creating another column. So remember, do you remember when we have a dictionary, how we create a new column? We just name it, and then we give it a value. So that's all we're doing here is we're saying data frame, giving a new name, which creates the column, and we're saying that is equal to the species. And we have not covered lambda functions here, but this is a function in and of itself right here. But basically what it's saying is we are creating a column, and in that we are using this data, and we're going to give it that as a argument, as an index to the column target names. So basically it's putting the name of the species by using that number in it. But if we print this, you know what I'm going to do is just print the data frame like that. That's better. Okay, so now this is what we have. This was the original data with the 4 data values in it. Remember, we added those headings, and then we added the species column, and then we added the species name. This is the number that corresponds to the type of species. This is the name of the species. So now we have a data frame. That was the data wrangling part of it. Getting it all together into a data frame that we can actually do something with.